Hello, I'm Dan,
And I'm Can.
and this is a Pebble, a weekly short form podcast brought to you by Short Stacks. Get a pile of short stacks at your local Perkins or
Perkins.
Denny's or whatever. It's National Short Stack Day on Drop the Stones Universe.
No. No, it's not.
But speaking about having short stacks in your pants, Monday, the inauguration's coming up.
Dan, don't.
What?
Don't put a target on us.
What? You have pocket pancakes.
Bucket pancakes.
Your
Your
kids can have
favorite
a
inauguration breakfast.
yeah, silver dollar pancakes in your pocket.
No, no.
A little syrup in your shirt pocket. Just be like, num num num, num num. Give me some.
Okay.
So you want to talk about our friend?
I got to make sure no alarms are going to go off on my phone real quick here. Just give me a little second.
Ah, yes,
I have
professional.
about 5 billion alarms. Like, look what I have to do for my alarms. That's how many alarms I have.
You're giving away all your data now.
Then can't see anything.
Yes, the Chinese
If you're a
spies
crook
on
on here, get off.
YouTube are going to
Okay, so I just wanted to talk a little bit about like the fear of the future of our country with what's coming into office. Who's coming in? No, what? It's not it. They're people, but there's so much fear. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Everybody seems to be afraid, whether you're someone who has deconstructed or you're somebody who has um you're just like a left leaning. um I know some conservative Christians are saying like, we're happy, we're so excited. And then people are saying, well, it's going to be terrible and it'll probably be more terrible for you, and I hope I'm going to sit back and eat my popcorn and watch you, and
So
a lot of bad stuff going around.
no real difference between any of the last 5 or 6 elections we've had.
No, but
Just
this one,
a different. It's shifted from side to side.
it has shifted from side to side, but doesn't this one feel different? Or at least it could be because of social media and TikTok
Yeah,
in general
I think that's a
has.
lot of it. There's been so much. One who's taken office really loves having the spotlight.
Oh yeah.
So that to get that, he's going to stir as much shit as possible.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's just how he operates. He wants to have focus. He's definitely a believer of no press is bad press. So even if I say some ridiculous shit, it's still press, and that's good because my name's being mentioned.
That might, I hope that he continues to feel that way and lets people just have their free speech. But you know what I'm saying? Because some people are saying,
Yeah.
oh, he's gonna, like, even at the beginning of this podcast, I was like, oh, don't put a target on our backs, because there's this fear that he's going to like take that away, which
Yeah.
I, I'm still going to use my freedom of
Yeah,
speech.
he does show signs of being shallow in that he doesn't like people talking negatively about him or anything like that. But I don't think a small podcast coming out of the Midwest is any
No,
good.
I know that,
I mean,
but
it's more about, the big names saying shit about him all the time.
I
And
hope that he lets them continue to say what they
yeah,
want to say,
I don't
because
think the
then that.
government has enough time to really crack down on all of that and go through all that and persecute. Now, there's factions of people that follow him that'd be willing to help.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. Like, or Christians hear our podcast and they're like, we don't like what you're saying because you're going against our faith.
Yeah.
So we would be righteous in reporting you.
Yeah, and that just speaks to their faith that it's weak and
It
can't
does. And if
sustain
God
stuff.
wants to take it down, he could take down the podcast without your help. But I think we just keep living our lives and doing our thing. And I don't think being afraid. I guess from what I'm learning as I study the 12 universal laws, like the power is not outside of us. It's not in our government. It's not in a God that's outside of us. The power is inside ourselves. I do believe Jesus was even saying that, but it's in it. It's in us. The kingdom of God is within you. So that divine power is within you. You're made in the image of God. You are sons of God, sons, daughters, non-binary children of God. You're just you are a piece of source. And so that power to create the world that you want to live in is within you. And yes, they're going to make laws. And I know that's easy for us to say as white people,
Yeah.
to be honest. But that doesn't make it less true.
No.
I think it's true.
And honestly, I think we are speaking from
And
experience there
encouraging.
too, because I guess people would say you had your heads in sand, but through the housing crisis of '08, we didn't really get wrapped up in it and concern ourselves with it a whole lot.
Yeah.
And it didn't affect us.
Like when we went through the recession, like, and I know Obama was a good president and stuff, at least in my point of view, but when we went through the recession, we didn't really feel it.
No.
And we didn't have a ton of money at all. We were not wealthy.
No.
We were living on one income with 5 children.
I was transitioning
You were
jobs.
transitioning jobs, and yet we did well in our eyes, what we thought at the time. Now, would it be really well for us today? No, because times have changed. There's inflation and all this stuff, but it was we did okay because we weren't focused on like the negative around us. I think that did have a play in it.
Another example would be COVID. We didn't get affected tremendously by COVID either.
No, actually.
And this is okay. I know people are like, well, that's your privilege speaking. And you know what? Yeah, I understand that's privilege speaking, but that's what we come from. And that's what we understand.
Well, and the thing is, shouldn't we want everybody to have that privilege? We don't want to take away privilege from people. We want everybody to have the privilege.
Yeah.
So you not using your privilege or not noticing it and acting like, oh, that privilege is bad that I have that. It's not bad. Everybody should have it.
Yes.
So we just have because of the skin color that we came into this planet with, we have some advantages that the point is not to take those advantages away. The point is to give them to everybody because everybody should have them no matter what skin color or,
yes,
or sexuality or any of that stuff. But yes, there is some privilege that is at play, but it should be empowering to hear that the power is within you. It should not be, that is not to say, oh, that's ridiculous. That should be empowering to anybody. If you are dirt poor, the power is within you to change your life. And if you sit there and tell them, no, it's not, you can't because of the conditions you're in, you are not empowering them. It is more empowering to say, you can do this. Start focusing on the little things here that you can, the vibrations that you're putting out. Like just test it and see if it works. That's all we're saying.
It's basically saying your government's not going to help you. Your president's not going to help you. Your church isn't going to help you. Come out.
You might get some help there, but you cannot depend on them because they can be gone in a second, just like our government is shifting right in front of our faces. And are we all helpless and hopeless? Well, I hope not. And I hope we don't think like that because that type of thinking is going to make it worse for you. Because if you start to think there's no hope and everything's going to be shit and it's all going to be bad, then it is. I'm hoping that he will do a good job, obviously, for the country. I'm hoping he'll do a good job. Am I hopeful that he will? I don't know. I don't know. Like right now, I'm just kind of in this wait and see. Let's see what happens. But regardless of what the government does, I am still going to live my life to be loving and kind. I'm going to do my job. I'm going to still invest in myself. I'm going to invest in our family. I'm going to be kind. If I see injustice in front of me, I'm going to say something. I'm going to speak up. I'm going to vote the way that I think is the best for the country, for everybody, not just myself. I'm going to, I'm still going to do all the things I was doing before. I'm not going to now be afraid. I'm not going to do that. So the federal government can do all the things that they're going to do, but the power to live a happy, healthy life is not in their hands, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, you control it. You're the only person that can really control what happens to you. You can play the blame game and say it's on everyone else, but that's not going to change anything in your life. That's just going to give you a scapegoat to make you feel justified in the situation you're in currently.
Yeah.
Once you realize, okay, what can I do to get myself out of this? Then you can start to grow. And
Yeah. You might not be able to control everything that happens to you because you can't, but you can control how you respond to that. And your response is what leads you down different paths. How you respond in this situation at this time will affect where you're at tomorrow. So your response is huge. That directs your life. What comes at you is going to come at you. Like, we cannot control who's going to be in office tomorrow or, come Monday or whatever.
Mhm.
We cannot control that. That is out of our hands. We did what we could. It's not what we thought, but we can adjust to that, and then we can move in the direction that feels best for us individually, that is loving and good and kind. But what we're trying to say is, don't get stuck in the fear. Don't get caught up in, there's so much fear mongering being like, the party that's coming in used tons of fear mongering to get into office.
Mm-hmm.
And now the other party is using fear to keep us paralyzed from even hoping for a better tomorrow. Right?
Yeah.
And not all the party, but there's just some in there. It's getting loud. Like, it's going to be terrible. The next 4 years are going to be awful if we even get a vote again, ever again. And, and we're all going to be suffering. And if we all think like that, it is what's going to happen, because the collective is going to push that direction. But we have to keep ourselves from going down that road. You can at least have some effect on your own life. And then it's up to others to build that collective. You know what I'm saying? You spread what you can, and then hopefully some people catch on to that, and they, in their own lives, stop fearing. It's just, that's the only way we're going to have a positive experience as we go forward.
Yeah. True.
Some will and some won't. And you get to decide what the experience is like.
There's some hope and encouragement in there, because if you can realize that the power is within you and you can control your own destiny, and how you react is going to be the key in how you control your own destiny, then it won't be miserable for you. You can find some solace and happiness in that. Just going down that road and trying to make the best of whatever, you're given lemons. So
figure out a way to make that lemonade.
Yeah, figure out to make that lemonade. So yeah, that's what we got to do on that. Now, TikTok. Is it going to be gone in 2 days? It's going to suck if it is, because quite frankly, folks, that is 100% of where we get our guests from. And
we'll just have to adjust. We got to respond in a way
so.
that whatever happens, that's out of our control too. So
if it doesn't happen, we might have some repeat guests on a lot.
It'll eventually grow and change, and we'll meet. Yeah. We're already meeting new people. So it will morph right along as everything else, because we're going to be open to whatever comes our way.
But honestly, what my gut is saying is that
don't do a prediction.
I'm just going with my gut.
Mm-hmm.
What the spirit guides are telling me. I think by the end of the week, they're going to put an extension on it.
Maybe. Will it? See, this is my thing, though. Is it going to be the same TikTok if it does stick around, or is it going to be taken over in a way that it's not as free?
It can't be taken over because it's a private company. So the government can't force itself upon it unless the company allows that. And it doesn't seem like TikTok's wanting to allow government intrusion into it. So will TikTok decide to do some things to conform? They might. I don't know. I think there'll be some slight changes and whatnot here. I don't know if we'll notice a lot of it, other than how much you're getting promoted out and all that, which honestly doesn't affect my account so much. Yes, it doesn't get promoted for shit.
It does sometimes.
My 100 views are good, so I just live with it. Whatever, it's a number. It reaches the people it needs to reach.
Yeah. You got penalized somewhere.
I know. And so
what did you do?
Well, it was on my pre-election, post-election
Have you
stuff.
tried? Like I post stuff without hashtags all the time and it does well.
Yeah, it doesn't change anything. So
Mm.
it is what it is. I'm not going to try to figure it out. I'm just going to post and see what works and figure it out. But I think I I think there's going to be an extension on it because I think there'll be too much of an uproar. And honestly, where's my tinfoil hat to put this on?
We should make you one.
So an analogy here is in football. When you got a game coming up, what you do is you watch film of the other team, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can see trends and how they play and see where you want to attack, where their weaknesses are, and all this stuff. And you also, if you're a good team, you watch film of yourself and see where you go. And I think some of this government stuff is kind of like they wanted to get film on the American populace to see how they were going to react and respond.
If they threaten to take it away.
Yeah. So that they have some other ideas down the road on, okay, so now here's how we got to attack certain things in here. And this is what we're going to have to deal with. And this is how the people are going to respond. So honestly, I think we kind of played into their hand a little bit. We're playing checkers and they're playing.
And if they take it, well, yeah, they're a step ahead of us in this
So I
area.
think it was more of a false flag type thing to float this out and scare the people, just to elicit a response to kind of get a measure on what the people are thinking, what the people are going to do, how they're going to respond and react. So when they affect some other things down the road.
But if they also, if they take it, all they're doing is it opens the door for a whole lot of other things they could just take.
You look at some of the responses is everyone went to red note. So the whole thing was is that it's Chinese companies spying on us. So what did people do?
Just go give all our money straight to the Chinese.
We'll go to a Chinese company that has the same exact thing pretty much. And all right, there we go. And
is Red Note like their version of TikTok?
It's a separate entity all itself, but it's very similar, I think, from what I've heard. It's not owned by ByteDance or anything like that. It's a different company that runs it, but it's underneath Chinese jurisdiction. So I've seen some stuff on there of you have to operate like you're under Chinese rule on there, because if you say inappropriate things or illicit things that they don't agree with, they'll shut you down. They can't come over here and arrest you, but if you travel to China, then you could get arrested for your post and stuff like that. So you got to keep that in mind too if you're planning on taking a trip over to Beijing or something soon. Careful what you post on Red Note. So, but I think, yeah, it just kind of showed the response, which is information and intelligence. It's film to be studied by the government to see how people react.
Well, yeah, you might be right.
But tinfoil hat off. Okay.
And he's back.
Now I'm back again. But yeah, I don't think it's going to disappear. It might go black for a couple days until TikTok figures out, all right, we got an extension. Let's run this and see how we can rally. And
do you think they'll have to change the algorithm or anything? No, because that's the big prize. That's the big thing that TikTok does. That's so different.
What everyone wants, and that's what Zuckerberg wants. That's what Musk wants, and all this, because it's so catered to the individual.
Yeah.
Unlike what they have already. So that's what they need and that's what they want.
Do they really want it? Do they want to give us that, or do they just want it and they don't want anybody to have it? Because I don't think they want to cater to us like that. I think they want to force things at us that we don't want.
Information on how to sell.
Because TikTok does so much business.
It's a profit sharing thing. Yeah. I mean, look what comes on your ads. They're not the same as mine.
No. And so, but neither are the ads on Facebook and Instagram the same as yours.
No, but the TikTok ads are pretty.
They put things in front of you that you never thought you needed, and you'd be like, I need that.
Yeah. And it's just based off your algorithm.
How many things have we bought from the TikTok shop? Well, maybe it's good that TikTok take a little break. I've bought a lot of things on TikTok.
You have bought a lot. I've bought 3. So
the desk that we're using right now, you use a lot of the things that I've gotten on TikTok, though. The chairs we're sitting in were from TikTok.
So we're addicted. we're addicted to talk.
No, we're not addicted, but I have used it because it was, it wasn't Amazon and we needed those things. And I was just like, oh, I'll just get them on the TikTok shop.
So that's the prized possession. That's really, I think, what the government wants is to have that so they can have.
They just want to put their hands in it and control it.
Yeah.
And it does, the thing is where it messes with our freedom of speech, like marketing aside, we have
the
this
government got control of the algorithm. They could break up how people relate with each other. So how TikTok works is that in our group, what I see is a lot of deconstruction people that are left leaning, that, this, and then occasional football stories or baseball highlights. It's programmed for me.
But is that
in there? So let's adjust this a little bit so these people can't communicate with each other, because that communication is a strong bond that has caused a lot of issues for the government, both parties, both sides. Of now we can't get away with shit like we used to because information is getting spread, and now even false information is getting spread like rapid fire on here too, more so than anything else. So
and that's what they would use as an excuse. False information is getting spread, but it gives us a chance to like hear different perspectives and make up our own minds because we can think. We do have brains.
Honestly, to the TikTok thing too, is when a false story comes out, within 4 or 5 scrolls, there's another one saying, no, this is a false statement.
Yeah, and somebody can take that video, tag it, and do a whole stitch on it, talking about what their opinions on why what that person said is false information or whatever. And it can go through that several times, and then you can listen to all of them and learn for yourself, make up your own mind. It's like a debate, but you kind of have to do more work at finding the people listening or talking about it.
And you look at the other social media, so Facebook and Instagram. Now, I have been on Instagram a whole lot. Facebook I haven't been on in 10 years almost.
No.
But it was all just forced stuff that didn't apply to me.
Yeah.
And that's why I got off of it. I was like, I'm tired of listening to all this bullshit and these lies about Hillary did this and Trump's doing this and Hillary's doing that, Trump's doing this. And it's like, I can't deal with this. I'm done. And I shut it off.
Yeah.
And I think Instagram started getting that way. Twitter, when Elon took over it, that definitely went that way. That's basically an alt-right site now anymore on most stuff you follow on there. So
I don't want to get what I don't want though. And I don't know that TikTok, I don't see this happening because sometimes, I am a lot of left leaning, but I'll get right leaning people pop up in my feed sometimes, and I will listen to it and see if I hold to it or don't hold to it, or if I see any truth that I would agree with, or maybe something that challenges me. And I'm like, that's interesting. I don't want to be in a bubble. And I don't know that does TikTok create bubbles like echo chambers?
Not as much as the other ones do. You can get in kind of a bubble, I think, on it, but then every now and then something will pop in.
You can also clean up your algorithm pretty easily, though, too.
Pretty easily,
yeah, that's true.
But I think it'll randomly put some other contrary stuff in there for whatever reason.
And sometimes I don't mind it. I will listen and I'll go, okay, let me hear what you have to say here. Yeah. And it's easy to go find that. But I think it's so easy to find opposing ideas on like Instagram. But Instagram, it seems like you only get people that you follow. You don't necessarily get new people coming in. You have to go look for them. Whereas the For You page on TikTok, it brings them to you.
Yeah.
So like there's people that come across your feed that will come across my feed.
And that's the same thing with Facebook too. It doesn't bring in the new eyes and ears.
And the new, where you're hearing a new voice saying something new and unique about the same subject that you've been talking about with other people.
And Twitter puts new voices and ears and eyes on stuff.
You mean TikTok?
No, Twitter.
Oh, you mean X?
No, I refuse to call it X. That's dipshittery right there. But it forces its opinions, because a lot of the stuff that comes in that's not my followers, whatnot, is very much right leaning. I mean, that's when I wanted to get right leaning stuff. I'd go to Twitter and just look at that, and I could see all the alternative viewpoints on everything. But because it was kind of forced upon.
Yeah. In Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really ever get into that too much, but
Yeah.
I mean, and I guess if nothing else, if TikTok is banned and doesn't come back, now we know what we expect. This is the type of algorithm we're expecting.
Yeah. And something will pop up that everyone will get back on. So,
yeah. Somebody will create what we need, I'm sure. But just the whole point tonight.
And who knows, maybe ByteDance is going to go black because they're going to re-release a new thing that could come over, I don't know. A lot of conspiracies to think about.
But just stay hopeful. Just stay hopeful. Don't get caught in the fear. Don't let yourself spiral. Don't project what you think is going to happen. Just allow to be what is, and keep yourself in the present moment. What is around your surroundings right now, instead of thinking, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. You just don't know. So let's just stay in a space that's more neutral to positive when you need it to be, and allow yourself to feel things. You don't want toxic positivity. If you're really having a situation like maybe you're going through a financial stress or whatever, you want to get calm just so that you can think clearly to how you can work your way through it, instead of catastrophizing and thinking, oh, it's because of this, and now this is going to happen, and this, you know what I'm saying? You have a lot more power in your life than you realize. That's really what I want to say.
Amen, sister.
Okay.
All right. Well, remember, listen to us.
Because we know a little bit of shit.
Bye.
Bye.